Hello MAUSD families, my name is Patrick Reen, I'm Superintendent for MAUSD. It's hard to believe we're now 10 weeks into the school year. We've been very fortunate so far to have as much in-person instruction as we've had. We know it's important to our students and we know it's important to our families that we provide this service. However, we're only barely able to provide this service. In a typical year, we don't often have enough substitutes to cover vacated positions. During COVID, with so many more reasons for staff that need to be out and so many fewer substitutes, this challenge is even greater. Each day, it's a challenge for at least one of our schools to ensure that we have sufficient staff in place to continue on. With cases on the rise in Vermont and the holidays nearly upon us, our ability to continue to offer in-person instruction is in jeopardy. Despite the rumors that have been spreading, we are still planning on delivering in-person instruction following Thanksgiving break. To do this, we need your help. We need you to follow the travel and group size guidelines. We need you to wear a mask and keep your distance. In today's video, I'm going to talk about travel, meals, winter sports, snow days, subs, cold buses, and when your child's sick, what you should do. As you've likely heard, all non-essential travel to and from Vermont now requires quarantine. Essential travel includes travel for medical care, care of others, parental shared custody, and for work. With cases surging throughout the Northeast and really all of the country, travel outside of Vermont poses considerable risk of increasing our already rising cases here in Vermont. That jeopardizes our ability to continue to provide in-person instruction to our students. Among the most likely reasons we may need to shift to all remote learning is not having sufficient staff. If staff and families of students travel outside of Vermont during the holidays, that'll lead to many people needing to be in quarantine, which may leave us short-staffed and could force one or more schools to move to remote learning. This will likely mean a brief school closure to provide time to make the shift to remote learning first, and any days that we have to close school are days that we will need to make up at the end of the school year. To help us continue to provide in-person instruction, we're asking everyone to think carefully about your holiday travel plans. We are really excited to announce that free meal kits will be made available to all students 18 years old and younger for the holiday break. Each meal kit contains breads, fruits, vegetables, deli meats, cheese, milk, and more for multiple days of meals for one child. This is a collaborative effort with Addison Northwest and Addison Central School Districts. And in MAUSD, these meal kits can be picked up at Mount Abe on Monday, November 23rd from 3:30 to 5, or at the First Baptist Church in Starksboro on Friday, November 20th from 3:30 to 4:30. Registration is encouraged. The registration has been distributed in flyers and will be available in email to families as well. You can also email Kathy Alexander directly at kathy.alexander@mausd.org. Winter sports guidance was recently released, allowing some sports to happen this year. In fact, most winter sports will be able to happen, though high contact indoor sports such as wrestling will not be able to happen this year. All sports that can happen are going to have restrictions on spectators. Outdoor events may limit the number of spectators that can attend, while indoor events will not allow any spectators at all. Thankfully, we already have some cameras mounted in the Mount Abe gym here for live streaming, and those are ready to go for the sports season to start. More information on how to access these cameras will be sent out later. It's also important to note that winter sports can only happen as long as we're offering in-person instruction in MAUSD. If we're forced to move to remote learning, winter sports will be put on pause until we're able to resume in-person instruction. Due to a number of factors, including holiday travel, awaiting further guidance from various sports committees, as well as the Vermont Principals Association, we're hopeful to be able to support JV and varsity basketball teams. We're currently working through additional layers to create pathways to support JVB and middle school sports programs, as well as youth sports. Out of an abundance of caution related to the current trends in COVID-19 in Vermont, as well as concerns related to holiday travel, JV and varsity basketball teams will start no earlier than Monday, December 14th. Middle school and JVB programming, if offered, will start no earlier than January 15th, as it's also suspected if youth sports are able to happen, they wouldn't begin until after January 15th. We're still working on exploring other opportunities for students, including Nordic skiing this winter as well. Thank you for your patience as we weigh the benefits and challenges of offering these programs to our students. After much discussion, we've decided that MAUSD will not move to remote learning on days when the weather makes it unsafe to travel to school. Instead, we're going to continue with our practice from the past, which is when the weather's too unsafe for students and staff to travel to school, we're going to be closing schools and making those days up at the end of the school year. The logistics of moving to remote learning can't always happen immediately, and we feel it's important that we maximize in-person instruction, and we don't want to trade an in-person day for what would be a remote day. As I mentioned earlier, our pool of substitute teachers is usually insufficient in a typical year. During COVID, it's critically low given the increased need for staff absences and a decreased subpool. If you've been considering becoming a substitute, I strongly encourage you to do so. It can be very rewarding work, and it could mean the difference between being able to offer in-person instruction or offering remote instruction. We have had some beautiful weather so far this fall. However, the forecast shows much colder temperatures starting next week, and we all know they're likely to stay here for quite a while after that. To increase airflow and help stop the spread of COVID-19, buses will be leaving some windows open even as the temperatures drop. This will mean much colder bus rides for our students. To help keep students comfortable on the bus ride, please make sure that they're wearing their warm winter clothes while these windows are open. As cases in Vermont are on the rise, we want to remind families what to do if your child is symptomatic or if they test positive for COVID. If your child has any COVID symptoms, they should stay home from school, and you should notify the school of your child's absence. If your child has any one of these symptoms, cough, loss of taste, loss of smell, difficulty breathing, or a fever of 100.4 or greater for 24 hours or more, you should call your healthcare provider, as it's likely they need to get a COVID-19 test. If your child has two or more of these symptoms, a fever of 100.4 or greater, chills, muscle or body aches, headache, sore throat, fatigue, congestion or runny nose, nausea or vomiting or diarrhea, you should call your healthcare provider, as it's likely they need to be tested for COVID. If your child does not meet this criteria, or they took a COVID test and the test was negative, they can return to school when they are fever-free for 24 hours without medicine and have not had symptoms for at least 24 hours. If your child does meet this criteria for testing, including if they've tested positive for COVID-19, they can return to school when they are fever-free for 24 hours without medicine and their symptoms have improved and at least 10 days have passed since any symptoms appeared. More information about when to contact your healthcare provider and when your child can return to school will be linked along with this video. I want to thank you for your support of all the students and staff in MAUSD. Because of your diligence in fighting the spread of COVID-19, we've been able to provide our students with much needed in-person instruction. As the cases in Vermont rise, we need to redouble our efforts to enable us to continue to provide in-person instruction. While the holidays will look and feel different for everyone this year, we still have a lot to be thankful for here in Vermont. I'm thankful for all of you, and I wish you a safe, happy holiday season. Thank you for all you do. And remember, if you have any questions, you can submit them to covid.help@mausd.org. Thank you very much for watching.